78.6 FM, Positive Vibes with Winsome. We are back for another Saturday. I'm glad I'm here because next Saturday is going to have a different adventure, so you guys won't have me for about 2 weeks. But today is a very important day. I'm really excited to share today's message with you. I've been promising messages. I've been reading a lot, watching a lot of TV, listening to a lot of podcasts, listening to a lot of other speakers talk on certain topics. And I'm charged up because I think I'm trying to take the best of some of these messages and try to put a message together that makes sense for not just people that are my age, but anyone listening. And I'm just very grateful today for all the energy in the world of people trying to encourage others to be better than they were yesterday. And I think that's a hard reality for some people because sometimes when they wake up, the day isn't easy, right? It's not always a good day for some people. Some things are trying. There are challenges. There are things they're not looking forward to tackling or dealing with during the day. So to have that reality, fixing my hood, to have that reality is to understand why all of these lessons that we teach from different communities are so important. 78.6 FM, Positive Vibes of Winsome. I am so excited to be back today, and I always start off with the gratitude segment. So let me start off by saying thank you. Thank you to everyone who has been a part of this journey so far. Thank you to everyone who continues to listen, to follow along online, to give me a call and tell me they saw the clips, to the people who see me on at my day job and tell me they heard me on the radio. Hey, I was just driving. I hear it every week. I love it. I was just driving and playing around with the knobs and I heard your voice. And that's important because that lets me know how important it is to do these things right, to do this the right way, to make sure that I'm putting the time, effort, and energy into these messages. And I'm not just wasting an hour of my breath, your time, or taking away your energy when you can be giving it to someone else. So I'm grateful for your time, for your trust, and for your care. And I'm grateful for everyone who has continued to pour into me so that I can continue to pour into others. Like I said, from taking classes, certification courses, to podcasts, to mentors pouring into me, to books, to all these things that I've been trying to put together, messages, courses, and platforms that make sense and that are actually growing people. And you'll notice I'm not one that's ever out there asking for money. I'm not anyone that's ever asking for you to click and subscribe to support. I don't go begging for the attention. I just make sure that it's available to you. Grateful to the companies that have consistently and continue to support me, from LeadX to Flatter Leadership Academy, which now goes by Flatter Federal, to Talent Smart, to Franklin Covey, I can continue to go on and on and on. All of the people that have continued to say, we got you, continue to do what you're doing. And I know there's trees that I'm planting that I'll never see the shade of, and I get it. I completely understand that, and I realize that whatever I'm putting into the universe right now is probably going to plant a seed that helps someone be an incredible human being later. And I may not see it, but I know that I'm planting those seeds. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity and for the people who pour into me and those that are listening and those that use the skills. I love clients that tell me, hey, I listened to what you said last week and I applied it to my life. Because it's one thing to hear something, it's one thing to learn something, but it's something completely different to apply new skills to your life, to actually take them and put them to use. And so for those people who share with me how they apply these new skills to their lives, I just want to tell you, I'm really proud of you. I'm really grateful for you. And I can't wait to see what you do next, who you become. Because my biggest fight is to make sure individuals understand that when I teach, when I speak, when I'm in front of an audience, or if I'm behind this camera, I'm not teaching for me. I'm teaching because I want you to be able to walk away and apply something to make sure that the day that started off that wasn't that good, you don't let it keep you from having a good tomorrow. That you don't allow something that's probably mediocre to become overwhelming. You know, something small to be big. The way that you tackle your challenges, the way that you tackle conflicts, the way that you manage your life, the way that you pay attention and take action, the way that you're intentional. All of these things matter to me. So if I can teach just one skill that you can walk away with and use it, I'm grateful for those people who are putting those things into action. To the individuals who have supported me over the past 4 years now, thank you. I was just mentioning yesterday that since 2022, any additional time that I've had to me has been a bonus, because that is when I fell into what I love, when my passion really kicked in, where opportunities and doors really opened. 2022 was that year where vision met reality. And so to be here, 2026, living in that truth is an amazing feeling. So to have all those individuals who took time to help grow me, to help support me, folks you've seen in the studio like a Mr. Scott Garricky or Miss Belen Rico, or all the folks who have spoken and taught with us or shared their curriculum with us, from who can I go with? Dr. Bradbury. I could just continue. Jason Womack. You know what I mean? All of these people who have been amazing. Scott Stalker. I mean, I can continue to go on and on. But I'm also just as grateful as I am for the people who have supported, who have always encouraged me, who have always had my back, who have never told me no, who have never hesitated. I can continue with that list. Scott Stalker, Mark Tilsher. There are people who have always had my back, even when I wasn't really clear about what the vision was, even when the vision was fuzzy. These people have had my back. And so to all of them that I've mentioned, and folks who I have forgotten, and I know you're there and I have not forgotten about you because you continue to have my back, I just want to say thank you. But I also want to say thank you to the people that told me no. And I want to leave that there for a quick second. For the people that told me no, to the people who were gatekeeping, to the people who were actually working against me and my team, in certain situations, I also appreciate you. And I say that because you showed me what right does not look like. You've allowed me to see what exists, because sometimes we get so caught up in the opportunities, the blessings, and the doors that we don't see that side of it sometimes until it's too late. So to be able to identify that early and to have those people come into my life early, and there's a few, I won't name them, but they showed me what the ugliness of these businesses and this business and this networking scheme looks like or can look like. And it's not always pretty. I've seen it. And I was kind of disappointed in a few people because based on how they present themselves, I'd expected more. So I definitely want to say thank you to those people. Because of you, I'm here. Because of you, I'm able to take care of the audience that I am. Because of you, I fight harder every single day to provide opportunities for other people. Unlike most who are chasing money and chasing, savings accounts and chasing planes and cars and clothes and all these different websites, and they're on every platform. I'm not that dude. I am the person who is happy to just be in this booth. I can be a faceless message right now, and I would be just as happy delivering the message if I wasn't here on YouTube, on the Facebook message clips, on this radio for the folks who are listening, on the podcast when we drop that. I would be happy behind the scenes just making sure the message was out there. Some of the best joys have come from people like Joe Gross and John Dixon, who I don't have to be the face of it. I can give information and throw the rock to them. They catch it and run with it. Like, those are the teammates I love to have, because when you share visions, or Derek Miles, when you share visions and you lock in, you watch and you see them move. And it's beautiful to see what they create. It's more than one mind. It's 4 minds working together, or it's 2 minds working together, and the product is amazing. Those are the opportunities and the situations that I love, and the people who I love to surround myself with, because I know everything we touch turns to gold. So I'm thankful for all the people who have my back, all the companies that trust me with their material, all the companies that back us every single day as we educate, encourage, and inspire our communities, All of those people, I say thank you. And I'm thankful for the people who shut doors in my face, who were gatekeeping and playing in my face. Those people who told me no when they could have just as easily said yes. When people told me that money was more important than time. I will never forget those people as well. And I kind of appreciate them just as evenly as I do the people who have encouraged, pushed, and been there, because those people made me want to fight harder. Some people give up, go in their shell, and don't want to deal with the world because someone told them no, they want to get in their feelings. No, that charges me up. Do you remember Michael Jordan said that when he was upset, his response, I won't say it on the radio, but that is the same thing. That charged me up. You gave me new life. So I appreciate you, because just the same as those others encouraged me and gave me energy, you gave me new life. So when I would hear those words, oh, I can't do it, man. You know, I usually charge like $10,000, $15,000 for that. I'm like, all right, bet. Cool. I appreciate it. Thank you, man, for entertaining this call or this Zoom or this email. You charged me up because you showed me what it looks like when you have the opportunity to do something beautiful, to reject it because it doesn't fit the level that you think your pockets are. All right, moving forward, thank you to everyone and grateful for everything that we have, that we are, and that we continue to do. This is the gratitude segment, so I won't beat anybody up. Forgive me if it seemed like I'm doing that. I am still the positive vibes guy, but I will never forget. Just like there's coworkers you'll never forget that left a bad taste in your mouth when that tour or that experience was over, right? I have that same thing in business, man. I have that same thing in this field that I've identified early. Thank goodness that my last couple of years I've not dealt with that. It was the beginning. It's the early 22 and late 21s when I started seeing the reality behind this mission and this vision that I had for my team and for myself. 78.6 FM, positive vibes with Winsome. Winsome, what are you talking about today? Today I'm going to talk about fighting burnout. I'm going to explain what burnout is. I'm going to explain the cycle that some of us find ourselves going into, which is anxiety, depression, burnout, and how to get out of that cycle and how to identify that you're in it and what it looks like, what it feels like. And I'll tell you why this message came to me when we come back for the next segment, but it's very important that we talk about that. After 28 years of my day job, I've seen it. The clients that I sit down with right now are either dealing with burnout or on their way to that burnout cycle. And so it's very important to help people understand what it feels like, looks like, sounds like. I took some notes down. I don't have a script, but I did take some notes down so I don't miss anything. This one's very important to me. And so I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to go through the burnout cycle. I know what it feels like to go through the storyline of everything's okay when it's not. I know what it feels like when things that used to matter to you don't. I know what it feels like to see that in other people and want to help them and not really know why, because you don't really know where they're at in the cycle. And you kind of want to address that point, right? And keep them and help them break that cycle. And a lot of things that we do when it comes to burnout, we've seen, it's learned, it's taught to us. We've seen other people that don't care about it, just can keep rinse, washing, repeating it and going through it. And for us, it's like, oh, that's what right looks like because that person's a high achiever. That person's winning in life. That person's making a lot of money. That person has nice things. That person. But you don't realize when someone is burnt out. I've seen musicians burnt out. You can just tell. Tell me if you have not seen a musician when they're burnt out. You know how you know? Their music doesn't sound the same. Their presence is different. Their energy is different. And sometimes they get in trouble to do some crazy stuff online. And then we be like, whoa, that person's going through some things. That's why it's important that I share what it really looks, sounds like, and feels like what this cycle is. So that you can probably find yourself in this cycle and try to pull yourself. It's kind of like when we say we're breaking generational curses, right? We want to stop the cycle. And for you, I want to try to help you and prevent the burnout cycle, if at all, that we can while we're together this morning. 78.6 FM, positive vibes with Winsome. This was the gratitude segment. I said thank you to all the companies, all the people that told me yes, that had my back, that encouraged me. I also thank the haters and the gatekeepers for helping them to reinvigorate me, give me new energy, to give me a boost. and we're going to come back and talk about burnout right after this. .6 FM. Welcome back. I'm excited to be on the air this weekend. I'll have 2 weeks off after this, so I want to give you everything I got. We said we're going to talk about burnout today, and I took some notes, guys, because I really want to make sure that I get this right. It's really important that we try to help as many people as we can to get out of the cycle of burnout. It's kind of like generational curses. I'm trying to help you break this cycle as well. For me, it's one of the cycles of my life, or my generational cycle, generational curse, is that I've dealt with individuals in my family who deal with like alcoholism, narcotics use, and things of that nature. And those are things that I don't want to have anything to do with. So I realized how it affected their lives and people that I've seen, trust, and loved. And I was like, I got to cut that out of my life and make sure that's not a part of my story. So 100% when we're talking about breaking cycles, and hear me, I'm coming from a place of love today. I'm just trying to tell you how to really identify what burnout is, know what it is, and then when you know what it is, understand how to keep yourself from getting burnt out. What are some things you can do? And if you're feeling yourself in any of the cycles, how you can come out of that cycle and how you can bring yourself back from whatever you're dealing with. A clear definition of burnout is a state of emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion caused by prolonged stress without adequate recovery. And I really wanted to say that because there's a lot of people who don't realize that there are more than one way to recover. Or should I say there is more than one way to recover. And when you understand the different ways to recover, to bring your mind and body back, because your body and your mind are connected, then you understand how to avoid, again, another way to avoid burnout. Burnout grows when the nervous system never powers down. That's that person that's always go, 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 go. And if you're constantly reachable, meaning you're always accessible, you're always saying yes, you're always doing things, you put that pressure on yourself. Did you know I realized too, over my 28-year storyline, that the day job, that a lot of people put unreasonable expectations on themselves. And they might not realize they're doing it. They never say no. They never set those boundaries. They never understand that people will continue to call on you. People will continue to say your name when something comes up because you're not setting boundaries to keep them from doing it. So you go, go, go. And a lot of times it's because individuals have anxiety. They're dealing with other things that they hadn't factored in. I want to do well. I want to look a certain way. I had imposter syndrome when I started this job. I don't want to feel that way. I want to make sure that everybody knows that I'm reliable. I'm trustworthy. I'll pick up the phone anytime. I'll do anything. I'll do a good job. If my name is on it, I want it. These are the people who deal with that constant anxiety. And when you're dealing with that anxiety, it leads you to want to do more because anxiety is that fear, right? And so you want to do more. You want to show and prove. You want to keep showing up. It's not about because you know you can, because it wouldn't be anxiety if you were confident in yourself and you knew that you presented yourself a certain way. What it is that anxiety of not wanting to fail, not wanting to let anyone down or let yourself down. And a lot of people are dealing with things that might be mental, they might be emotional, they might be going through something that is leading to that anxiety, which I said before, self-doubt, imposter syndrome, any of these things that are leading into you having anxiety drives into you wanting to do more. There's a story of a young man who wanted to just be as fast acceleration of promotion as he could. And he wanted to do all these other things outside because some of these things were like visible to others. For example, I want to let's say take 4 classes. I want to knock out my bachelor's as fast as I can. And I want to do my job, my normal day job. And I want to also train for, let's say, a marathon. So now you're working, going to school, training for a marathon, taking on different tasks and responsibilities because that's what you're used to doing. You've always done it. It's who you are. You're that trustworthy guy. But a lot of stuff is because you may have a goal in your mind. I want to look a certain way, feel a certain way, be a certain thing by this window. And if I don't, what? Do you feel like a failure? Do you think other people will see you as one? Is there some anxiety like you're not doing enough with your life? What is it that makes you want to do all of these things to a certain level? And then if it's not to that certain level, what is it? Is it because you're putting too much pressure on yourself? So I ask all of these questions because a lot of people don't do the little things. I'm going to give you a couple of them, right? No email at a set time. Putting your phone outside the bedroom. No work for a certain block during the week. Those little disconnects between assignments and meetings. Letting your mind go somewhere else. Stepping away from the computer. Going for a 5-minute walk on a monotonous day, especially if you're sitting in front of a screen all day or if you're doing a job or a mission or a task. And that could be with any aspect, any career, just stepping away when you can and just breathing. Just not being accessible for a minute. Think about being able to disconnect before you have to reconnect. And I teach this in other lessons like mindfulness and the importance of being present. But listen to me when I tell you this. To be the best at whatever you do, whoever you are, and wherever you are, you have to know how to disconnect in order to reconnect to it. So for example, when I was a personnelist, we had updates after update. It's all system updates we had to do, right? I knew at some point in the day, I need to step away from the computer. All I'm seeing is numbers and dates and names. I need to step away for a minute so I don't start messing up. I sometimes knew that I needed to step away when I started making little mistakes. Oh, that update's not good. And when I started seeing that consistently, I knew, oh, it's time for me to step away. Let me take a break. But I need to start building that in. Building in those breaks, being intentional about disconnecting, giving yourself that I care enough about me and my brain and my eyes to know that it's time for me to step away for a minute. Another one, when it comes to avoiding burnout, I just talked about disconnecting and reconnect, right? Stop making yourself as accessible. But how about that scheduling that relaxation in? When I say that, for some people, especially my type A ambitious people, this makes their skin crawl. I had a teammate that was gunning for a promotion, and behind closed doors, this client would tell me, I'm gunning for a promotion. So to listen to some of the things this person did for a person like me that believes in self-care, that believes in relaxation, and asking that question was kind of like speaking a different language to that person. I told this client, I said, hey, I hear all of that, but what are you doing for you? When are you like relaxing? How do you relax? What does that even look like for you? And this client looked at me and she was like, I don't. I sleep and I get up and I'm back on the grind. And I'm like, but you're sitting down in front of me because you're overwhelmed and you're trying to find ways. These are things that you have to consider. What does relaxation look like for you? You have to build that in. You have to put it on the calendar. Show me a calendar, and I guarantee you I'm going to see task, and no breaks built in. So when I ask this person to show me and then to tell me what that person's hobbies was, what makes them laugh, what brings them joy, what is something they enjoy doing, because it's not the same monotonous stuff that they do every single day. It's a change, and a change of scenery, a change of a vibe, a different energy. Tell me what those things are. And when the client couldn't tell me, that's when I knew you have no scheduled relaxation built into your life, to your day, and to your week. You are heading towards burnout. Now, I can't say those words. You don't diagnose in our sessions, but I can say you have to start taking care of yourself, and you have to start finding those things for you. Recovery is not laziness. Self-care is not selfish. These are all things you have to do to be able to be the best version of you, no matter what you're trying to do. So when you're telling someone this, that it's not just for maintenance to go get a massage or go to a beach. We're on one of the most beautiful islands in the world, and I'm talking to a person who has never been to the beach, and they've been stationed here 2 years. It was crazy. You've been here 2 years, and you've never been out to one of the beaches, and we literally live on a beautiful island. Because going to a beach feels like maintenance to you. It's called disconnecting, recovery, getting a massage, taking a day off, doing nothing regarding work, handing the phone off to one of your coworkers, someone taking the emergency emails. All of these things are doable, but a lot of the type A ambitious people who don't know how to let go or disconnected or tethered to their jobs don't know how to do it. So I will tell you this, if you're listening in, man, it's very important that you understand and be intentional about how you recover as well. Scheduling relaxation. Scheduling your own relaxation, taking a day off, shoot, taking a week off, shoot, taking 2 weeks off, taking time back, because you give and give and give. What are you giving to yourself? Especially if you have a family dynamic and you need to spend time, you need to connect. Disconnect from work to connect to your family. Disconnect to reconnect. What are those things that bring you joy? Who are those people that make you smile and laugh? What hobbies do you have that you've been missing out on? I'll tell you, when I get real busy, some of the things that I really care about, like going to the gym, going kayaking, some of those things have to get cut when I don't have time. But they don't get cut when I find the time. So I say this when it comes to scheduling in your relaxation, your breaks, your resetting, and from the first 2 points, when you're able to schedule these things, when you need to take a break, when you need to recover, it works for you, not against you. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some other things to pay attention to when it comes to feeling any of these feelings, when it comes to having any of these burnout thoughts and feelings. What are you feeling? What's going on? What's being disrupted? What's happening? My goal today is to let you know where you're at in the cycle, to help you avoid staying on that cycle, and to make sure that you're better than the generation that was before us. Hey, 78.6 FM, positive vibes with Winsome. I'm being positive. I know this is a tough situation. We are talking about navigating burnout. We're going to jump into the cycle of burnout in a minute, where we're talking about some other things, anxiety, depression. We're going to talk about this, but I really want to make sure that we're talking about how we're taking care of us. And we're talking about some of the signs, but how are you taking care of yourself to make sure you're not on a path that is directly driving you to burnout? So if you were listening, making sure you're doing the things that you need for you to recover, making sure that you're setting boundaries, making sure that you're doing things that are good for, what do you call the word I'm looking for? Relaxation. How did I forget that? Things that are good for relaxation. Are you setting time for these things, making time and scheduling? We'll be right back after this break. 78.6 FM, Positive Vibes with Winsome. And yes, I cried. I watched Scrubs last night. A new season. If you guys don't know, there are very few episodes of shows. There are very few shows that I would die on a hill for. Scrubs is one of those. Another one is Doctor Who. Right from Eccleston to Capaldi, I'll die on the hill for that episode, for that show. There's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, another one of the most longest running shows on television. All of these, right? Scrubs came back last night with a new season. I want to give a shout out to, of course, the team that brought it back to life, revived the episode. The actors, I can't tell you, Zach Braff, Donna Faison, how good it was, Sarah Chalk, to see you guys back on the screen in front of us. Dr. Cox, oh my guys, man, it just made my whole night. We talk about in the last segment, we spoke about doing things that bring you joy, and I have been looking forward to that all week. Here in Japan, that was Friday, and I have been looking forward to that show all week. And I thought it was going to be one episode. Kind of find out they gave us two. So not just did I have joy, I had double joy. I went to sleep last night in such a good mood, but I cried. And I'm going to tell you that what made me cry. If you guys have watched Scrubs, you're a fan of the show. It was syndicated for a long time. So if you've been able to see the older episodes, you remember Christopher Turk. The character who I can see myself in, the energy, the attitude, the personality, the story, his story. A lot of me was in him. My kids, my ex, they tell you remind me of Turk. That reminds me of you. Daddy, that's you. I loved Chris Turk's character. And last night on the show, he wasn't himself. And there was a scene where he's a surgeon, so he's in the surgery room, he's in the operating room, and the way he was interacting with the other doctors or the students, right, because they're teaching, the interns, he was treating them kind of cold and off, and he was dismissive, and then they had a nickname for him because of his attitude and his personality. And JD, of course, Zach Braff's character, is coming back to the hospital, and he is used to the same one person that we watch, that we've grown up with, that energy, that person, the one that everybody loves, the one who can make any scene funny. That was who Zach Braff or JD's characters used to be around. So to hear from the interns that that's not who they see, he did some digging. And at first it was, kind of surface. He was like, I'm fine. This is Turk. I'm fine. And then when it came down to it, there was a scene right outside the hospital where JD confronts him and he doesn't let him walk away from it. And he says, "What's up, man?" And probably one of the most emotionally charged scenes that I've seen in a long time from a character who I've never seen it from at this level. Turk tears up and he says, "I'm tired. Basically, I'm burnt out." And if you're a fan of the show, man, it's got me emotional now. To see that in that moment and to understand what that really means for anyone, and to be able to connect with that feeling, and to be able to see it in so many of my clients and so many of the stories that I hear from other coaches, it's like, wow, that's so spot on. So to the writers, to the staff, to the actors, I am so grateful that you were able to deliver it that way. And I think a lot of people wanted you guys to do something different, but what you gave us was a continuation of a story of human beings who are living and trying to be good at who they are and what they do. And with Turk and with Donna Faison's character, or Faison, however you want to say it, Turk's character showed us last night, we are human. We feel, we learn, we hurt. And what he needed, not just having his friend back in a hospital, but he needed to, see things different. He needed to step away for a second. And the way that JD was getting the interns to kind of guide him back was really cool to watch. And it's not always going to happen in a 30-minute span like that on a TV show. It takes time to recover from burnout. It's not going to be an automatic magical thing like we encountered. And of course, it didn't show it just flipping, but you saw progress and you saw a glimpse of hope of where the rest of the season hopefully goes with Turk's story. Where, hey, man, I realized I identified it. I know that's what it is. And now I want to make sure that I'm not continuing to be like that. Even his wife, the people at the counter, which is a hilarious crew that they have out there now. The two teammates at the counter who used to be Laverne's old role. Now there's two people doing the same energy at the front desk, two nurses or assistants at the desk, and they're cracking me up because I love their energy and their dialogue. But I say all that, they call them the divas, the double divas, I think it was online I saw. But I say all that to say this, man. That episode showed me the importance of doing this segment this morning. And I'm really grateful to everyone involved for highlighting that truth and making it, not covering it and disguising it in any way, but making it a truth that, hey guys, it doesn't matter what energy you might have on Monday, people can still and take your energy away. You have to find a way to recharge. And sometimes I like to realize this, and I want to share this with you because burnout is physiological before it becomes emotional. And I'll say that again. There's a lot of times that burnout is physiological before it becomes emotional. Some of the signs that you might experience when you're burnt out. Think about a tight chest, chronic headaches, brain fog, easily irritated, irritability, issues with sleep dysfunctions. Your mind keeps wandering off to work, stressing you. You get in that tightening in the chest and you think about it and you can't sleep because it's keeping you from getting a good night's sleep. You can't disconnect like we've been talking about. Cynicism. You become a cynic when it comes to what you do. And that's what was happening to Turk in the operating room. He was becoming cynical. He was like pessimistic. He was, I got it. You guys you're going to kill this person if it was real. This is me. I don't really need you in here. Blah, blah, blah. You know, it was very sad to see the person that he became in the operating room versus the character that we knew and loved. And it didn't take away how we felt about him. We just knew something was wrong. Right? So when these things happen, when you're experiencing these things and you know what's burnout that you're feeling, it's very important to identify it. And when you can, get help. When you can get help, that can be in a form of people, a counselor, a coach, a mentor, anyone who's going to help you reset, refocus, reassess, remember your why. Get that, find that passion, what makes you do what you do. Why is this important to you? I mean, they pulled out a lot of heartstrings last night. Dr. Cox was ready to give up the job and give it to JD, which is hard because we're so used to having Dr. Cox in the role of Big Brother. Now JD is Big Brother, the chief of medicine. And then you got Turk that's going through this. So to see Dr. Cox leave, JD decide to come back, Turk going through some human storyline. It was a beautiful show, a beautiful message. And I used this as an example to tell you and to show and showcase with you that your body whispers before it screams. Everything we just talked about, all the things you might feel, tightness in the chest, headaches, brain fog, irritability, cynicism, lack of sleep, your body's whispering to you before it screams. And it's kind of like not checking the check engine light when you see it, not seeing what's going on. But the thing is, when it comes to burnout and being burnout and the direction and where that can take you, when that check engine light comes on, the body doesn't negotiate. The mind doesn't negotiate. So you got time to do something about it when you see it's a problem or you see there might be a problem developing. I'm not who I used to be. I don't feel like myself. I need to sit down with someone. Something's missing. All of these things are happening, or some of these things are happening. I need to readjust. Another thing is burnout is amplified by chaos. So if you have a chaotic life, and I say this to you, if you've gone from having a junk drawer to a drunk room, to a junk car, to bills not getting paid, to forgetting things, and you see where I'm going with this, like a pattern is building, it's becoming chaotic, then you're really starting to fall right into that rabbit hole of not just going from leading to burnout, but you might be rolling into depression. You see, the anxiety makes you work harder because you don't want to feel FOMO or failure or imposter syndrome or whatever you're dealing with that got you moving in the first place. And then you don't want to stop moving because you don't want to fail yourself or others. And then when you're moving, you start realizing that you're not really feeling connected to the thing that you're doing. You're giving and giving and giving, but you're not really seeing the rewards. So what's happening is you're moving to a point where now you're getting exhausted. And when you get exhausted, things start getting missed. And when things start getting missed, things start getting dropped. And now you're adding into the same thing that you were fearing in the first place. Where that anxiety drove from, you're actually creating that situation for yourself. There's a couple of things I want to make sure we talk about, man. If you can hydrate, get away from the desk for a little bit, take breaks, do some things that help you recover mentally. Sit down with someone when you need to. Phone a friend when you need to. Run those thoughts and emotions by somebody when you can. Delegate things without feeling guilty about doing it. Clear your workspace at the end of the day so you can reset and come in for the next day. Don't just leave clutter all over the place. Make a list of 3 top priorities that you got to knock out during the day. Remember, I told you last time we were on the air to start writing down things because it's important to write things down. I don't care if it's a journal, if it's a list, but it's also keeping you from going into the chaos mode. You're bringing these thoughts in, right? And you're bringing your priorities in. You're understanding what needs to be done and in order. You can put similar tasks in batches. I got to clean my room. All right, cool. After I do that, I need to clean my car. All right, cool. Then I need to clean that junk drawer that's been sitting there for a while. I'm in cleaning mode. Make that your batch. You see, a lot of people, they got all these spread out projects. They don't know how to batch them when they can. So it just seems like 3 separate projects. No, this is one project, clean. There's little things that you can do to make sure you clear the clutter in your life, not just in your presence in physical form or in your mind, but to clear the clutter. I used to hear this from one of my friends, and I believe one of my parents. I don't remember who it was, but a clean room is a clean mind, clean space, clean energy, clear thoughts, clear the clutter. So that's what I started getting in the mode of, man, clearing the clutter. My teammate, he's a clutter bug. He likes to buy stuff, get stuff. He's a stuff guy. I'm a minimalist. I don't need anything new. You need a new TV? No, I don't. You need a new computer? Not until this one dies. You need a new... No, I don't want to hang a bunch of stuff up. Less is more for me. And when you're able to clear the clutter, you're able to see things different. You're able to clear your mind. You're able to focus differently. And you're able to move differently. I say all this because I know that is one of the fatal flaws in some of our friends who are trying to identify why they feel burnt out. Because when things start to build up in different areas of your life, things feel magnified. And when something happens on top of everything you're already trying to balance and fight against, when something happens, it's kind of like pushing you completely off a cliff. And so that's why I wanted to make sure we talk to you about not just trying to figure things out first and identifying how you're feeling and what you're feeling, but also leaning on your support systems. That's those friends, those mentors, that family member who's wise in these things, that counselor, that therapist, that coach, that person that you could sit down with and say, hey, I built in time to talk to this person because I need that for me. Like we talked about the very beginning, you have to build in time for things that matter, and build it in time when you feel yourself going down this rabbit hole. Build in time to sit down with someone who can help you sort through it and come up with a plan. And I'm not trying to be funny, but I guarantee you it's important to do that because you haven't been able to do it for yourself. And that's the whole point of having these people in your life. And if you don't, that's the whole point of getting these people in your life. Those mentors, those peers that are responsible, those coaches, those therapists, those coaches. I don't understand why people don't tap into that resource more. That's what we do. I love the folks who do. And I guarantee you, if you do tap into that resource, you won't regret it. Therapist, counselor, coach, peer, responsible peer, mentors, relatives that are responsible. Reach out, come up with a plan. 78.6 FM. We'll be right back. 78.6 FM, Positive Vibes of Winsome. I forgot to turn the mic off, so you probably heard me breathing and drinking water. 78.6 FM, Positive Vibes of Winsome. Burnout does not mean you are weak. I'll say this again. Burnout does not mean you are weak. It means you've been strong for too long without rest. I will say that again for the people listening and are driving. Burnout does not mean you are weak. It means you have been strong for too long without rest. One of the things I always told you, and I've always taught this every year that I've been on the air, is you have to give yourself grace. What I say, one of my messages, and I'll say it again at the end, love yourself, trust yourself, back yourself. Make sure that you are giving yourself grace while you're fighting to become the best version of yourself. Man, if you forgot that, and if I haven't said it in a while, I love you and I apologize. Even the scrubs doctors that were highlighting this on the show were showing you that in every walk of life, people deal with burnout. And what we're trying to teach you is, how do you avoid burnout in your community, in your profession, in your life, in your role? How do you avoid burnout? What are the things that you are doing to take care of you? 78.6 FM, you're not good for anybody else if you're not good for yourself. And that's in all aspects, from love, relationships, life in general. You have to take care of you before, what they say, put your get your mask on before you can take care of others, before you put others on. You got to put your mask on, man. If you're exhausted, it's not a character flaw. Being exhausted and being tired is not a character flaw, man. That is literally a signal for you. You are more than your output. You are more than your position. You are more in this moment. So you have to make sure, or should I say, you are more than this moment. So you have to make sure that in this moment, in your story, you are taking care of yourself and giving yourself what you need to survive, to live, to be the best version of you. There's some things we talked about, the loop that people go through, right? And I'll give it to you real quick. The first one is the anxiety. That's the thing that gets you started on this journey in the first place. You're anxious. Anxiety is that perceived danger. Something's not right. So I need to do something. I need to be, for some people, chasing promotion. For some people, chasing position. For some people, to be seen a certain way. It's that fear. Not just FOMO, it's the fear. There's a danger. There's something that's signaling I need to do more. And then you start doing more to a point to where it's so much going on in your life, you can get overwhelmed. You get exhausted because you're moving, you're doing so much. So if that's you, if I'm talking to you right now, there are some things you got to do so you can get out of that imposter syndrome, that fear of failure, that self-doubt. You got to start giving yourself grace. You got to start practicing gratitude for all the things that you do have before you start getting concerned and overwhelmed with the things that you're chasing. Be grateful that you have the opportunities you have, that you're in the place that you are, that you have the mind, the spirit, and the fight that you have. Be grateful for that. Practice gratitude. Be grateful for the people who have been in your life to push you along, to make sure that this path was made for you. You have to also know when to slow down. Why is hard? I know you can move, but can you be still? I have this conversation every week with at least 4 or 5 people based on the environment that we're in on this island. I know you can move, but can you be still? I know you can move, but can you be still? Practice gratitude. Slow down. If you're one of those people dealing with anxiety, make sure you understand and you restore that sense of safety and security for yourself. When you slow down, I'm okay. Don't forget to breathe. I'm okay. Let me start focusing on my locus of control, the things that are within my control, and let me start letting go of the things that are not within my control. I'm okay. And when you start doing that, that anxiety level starts coming down a little bit. But if you're not, and you kick into the go mode, that's that fight or flight mode. So what happened, that anxiety pushes you into that fight or fight mode, where you got to run, you got to move, you got to go. And I know people like that don't have an off switch. Some of them I know, there's some people that are go because they know if they slow down, they have to feel. And so I tell those people, sometimes you got to deal with those things. Otherwise, you're going to continue to put yourself in this rinse, wash, repeat, where you're going through these stages all the time. So you got to slow down and you got to deal with it. Those things you're trying to compartmentalize forever that you hope will just go away. No, sit down with someone. Slow down. Breathe. Start saying no. Remember we talked about setting those boundaries for yourself. Start saying no to the things that you know are not good for you, your mental health, or your time and energy. I started to master that. Nah, I'm good. Nah, I appreciate the thought, but I'm okay. Hey, man, thanks for keeping me in mind, but I'm okay. Ma'am, it's beautiful that you wanted me. You trust me with that, but I'm okay. I got a lot of things going on right now. It's okay. Nobody's going to be like, he doesn't want to do nothing. She doesn't want to do nothing. No, they're going to realize, hey, this guy has clear set boundaries. Hey, do you want to go do this? No, I'm okay. Hey, thanks for asking. And if they come back and ask you why, I have other things in motion. I don't want to get distracted. But thanks for asking, and thank you for keeping me in mind. Say no when you need to say no. That's how you avoid burnout. You're in avoid getting exhaustion, because the exhaustion leads you to depression. Think about this. You're going through, say you're the guy that we talked about at the very beginning, taking the classes, working for pushing towards a marathon, doing a full job. And then all of a sudden, all these things start breaking down because they're starting to go. And because there's so much happening, they're overwhelmed and overstimulated in certain situations, they start forgetting things. They start missing things. They start making mistakes. Say that person gets injured while they're training. Say that person misses like a huge situation at work and they get written up. All of a sudden, now all of that stuff they're already trying to balance, and then you add the extra pressures on top of them. Some of them get into a depression and they're like, why do I even try? And you know what a depression can lead to. So I need you to really start at this point in time, if you're not already doing it, giving yourself grace. Schedule time for your self-care, recovery, self-compassion. Build that time in. We said that at the very beginning of this segment. Build in love for you, self-love, self-care. Build in connecting with others that you love and care about. Because I guarantee you, when you connect with those people, places and things that give you strength, give you energy, and bring you joy, like watching Scrubs did for me last night. I waited all week for that. I didn't care what happened from Monday to Friday because I knew Scrubs was coming on Friday night. And that show did not let me down. I'm so glad I watched it, because that was the message today, is avoiding burnout. I saw Chris Turk and what he was dealing with in that operating room. And even though it was a fictional character, it was a real story. And I will tell you, you have to do the things that are important to you, that we gave you, the steps to make sure that you are taking care of you, identifying the physiological, the symptoms of burnout. Start trying to sit down, take breaks, do the things that bring you joy. Build in rest into your schedule. Take care of your mind. Take care of your body. Make sure you're saying no. Build those boundaries. Because if you haven't figured out how to do that yet, you're going through that same cycle that I'm trying to get you out of. And that cycle is, I got anxiety. I'm anxious about something. I don't want to fail. I don't want to lose out. I don't want to have that. I don't want to be looked at different. So now you're running, and that running and going because you want to prove a point. You don't want to be up here. And then you get exhausted, and then you're exhausted, but you're still trying to do everything you want to do. And then something goes wrong, and then something gets added to your plate, or something you fumble, and now you're depressed. And then that depression leads, oh my gosh, why did I even want to do this? And then while you're sitting in that funk, now you're forced to rest. And then while you're thinking about it, you're like, you know what? I can do this. You get up and you jump right back into the same cycle. Rinse, wash, repeat. You got to break that cycle. You have to build in rest. You have to take care of yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to trust yourself. You have to back yourself so you can be the best version of yourself. 78.6 FM, Positive Vibe with Winsome. You are loved, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. See you next week.